Hey, this is Matt. Welcome back to the channel, guys, where we are going to be looking into what happened to Drew Brees' hair. As many people are wondering online already, was it a hair transplant or how did he get his hair back? That's going to be the topic of today's video. And if you are enjoying these regular hair transplant and hair loss related updates on my channel, make sure to like this video right now. Smash that like button. Thank you very much. And before we start with the video, this video has been brought to you by GoFiber, which are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning or patchy areas on your scalp to make your hair look thicker and better. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below where you can visit GoFiber, get a free sample of your choice and try them out, see if you like them. Hey, welcome back. Good to see you, everybody. My name is Matt. I'm your host on this channel, which is about hair loss, hair transplant, how to regrow your hair, how to avoid being the bald guy for life. But instead of that, how to do something about your hair loss, intervene early on and bring that hairline to the next level eventually with a hair transplant. So make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell as well to get free content on these topics from me. Visit my website, mattdominance.com, where you can get my free ebook 5 things I wished I had known before my hair transplant. Very valuable stuff. All right, now let's come back to the topic. What happened to Drew Brees' hair? And it looks like hair transplant, okay, on the first sight. So let's take a look what really happened here. While there isn't an exact date when Brees' hair noticeably started growing, there were a few moments fans noticed a change during July and August 2020 before the football season started when he posted this video on Instagram. So on this video, apparently there is something which his fans noticed about his hairline, and we can already see it also, right? We see that his hairline has a much better definition, and it actually looks like he might be like somewhere between the week number 2 and week number 4 or even 5 potentially after a hair transplant. We can see that the hairline has much better definition, and yeah, it just looks like, you know, the scabs probably already fell off and now he's left with his transplanted hair, which, by the way, will fall out soon. And that's why, so this definitely looks like, you know, freshly after his hair transplant, couple of weeks. And what his fans also noticed, like several months later, that, you know, in August, he appeared with a shaved head. At the time, fans wondered if he had gotten a bad haircut. Looking back, it's possible he could have shaved his head in order to get a hair transplant. No, he shaved his head after his hair transplant already because his transplanted hair started to shed. And that's usually what what people who are not educated enough about hair transplants don't understand. They think that you get a hair transplant and the transplanted hair just stays there. No, it's gonna fall out by 95+% of patients. There is like you know, the lucky ones, maybe less than 5% of guys whose hair doesn't fall out after the hair transplant, or it doesn't fall out to such an extent. Unlike by most patients. So yeah, this is his hair after the hair transplant in August. I presume his hair transplant could have happened by late June or early July 2020. That would be my estimation. This is again him before his hair transplant. This is his Instagram, March 2020. Obviously, we see him with this, you know, like high forehead, somewhere between Norwood 3 and Norwood 4. Depends on how we look at it. Could be closer to Norwood 3, could be closer to Norwood 4. This is him getting his first haircut after his hair transplant somewhere in September, when we already see some signs of you know, uneven growth on his hairline. And this is him with much fuller head of hair by December 27th, which could be what? 6 months. 6 months after his surgery. So yes, I would also argue that this is a hair transplant, because also when we take a look at some of his videos from 2019, we see him with thinner hair on top. We see him being somewhere like a good Norwood 4, I would say. You can see him with much fuller hair also during this speech, which has been captured on video late September 2021, so pretty much this year. We don't see scarring on his donor area. I mean, not scarring which could be referred to FUT, follicular unit transplantation. So I would probably guess this is FUE, or this was FUE, not FUT. Here we can see also his donor area from the side. It definitely doesn't look like FUT, but more like FUE. It's a good hairline, suitable for a guy who is in his early 40s, and he's 42 by the way, so he got his hair transplant when he was like 41. And now let's talk a little bit about how great of a hair transplant candidate was Drew Brees before he got his first hair transplant. He was 41 years old, and his Norwood class before the surgery was Norwood 3A. And it's always good to take a look at both of these parameters before deciding to get a hair transplant. In this case, I would definitely say that hair transplant is recommended. Whether he was or wasn't on medication like finasteride or minoxidil remains to be unknown, and it's very hard to find out whether he was or wasn't. I would say his donor area definitely looks above average to me. How above average, it's also very hard to tell. His hair characteristics are as follows. He has a straight hair, good skin to hair contrast, hair thickness is likely to be medium, and his hair loss progression speed seems to be slow to moderate to me, because I seen him already starting to lose his hair by the mid-20s, and by his early 40s he still is only a Norwood 3A, maybe Norwood 4 at worst. Alright guys, so how many grafts do I think Drew Brees might have got transplanted? And the amount of follicles might be even lower than we would think, in my opinion. So this is his transplanted hairline, what you can see here. And this is an interview from 2 years earlier. And once he wrinkles his forehead, look, the balding surface doesn't really look that big to me. So we know that they didn't fill out the temples, they just did something like that, and also on this side as well. And there will be maybe 1,000 to 1,200 grafts per corner, which makes it 2,000 to 2,400 grafts. And then at the end of the day, just a question of whether they also strengthen this area or not. Obviously that they strengthened the hairline a little bit as well, but I don't know how much they decided to implant into that forelock area or forelock zone. That depends on whether Drew is or isn't taking finasteride, and we know that every good doctor should recommend him finasteride before even trying to do a dense packing in this area to avoid shock loss. And the overall number of grafts would be probably between 2,400 to 3,000 grafts in my opinion. And here is another reason why I think that the doctor didn't really position Drew's new hairline way lower than it originally was. If we take a look at his transplanted hairline right now, we see that the positioning is not way lower than his existing hair used to be before. And I would also claim that the way he styles his hair right now after his hair transplant is kind of conducive towards making that transplant look fuller and the whole result looking more dense than it actually is. And after briefly browsing the internet, I was able to find this candidate who also got a FUE hair transplant. He was like a Norwood 3A, which is similar to Drew Brees before situation, like somewhere between Norwood 3 and Norwood 4, with some diffuse thinning on the central region in the frontal forelock zone, and also having receded corners. We can argue that Drew Brees has slightly like different skull shape and whatnot, but I think also in terms of their hair texture and hair color and whatnot, it's also pretty similar to this candidate. And this guy got 2,700 grafts, and this was the recipient area marked here. And I really think that if Drew Brees went to this doctor, which is by the way FU Expert Clinic from Madrid, and some of you guys who've been following my channel already know about this because I already featured this clinic several times on my channel. I think if Drew would have gone to this doctor, I think he would have ended up up with a very similar result to this guy. Obviously, we could argue that this guy could have maybe slightly higher hair per graft average, maybe not. I just wanted to share this with you to illustrate different hair transplant candidates with a similar situation to Drew Brees before his hair transplant also got, so I would say 2,700 grafts plus minus would be also something that Drew Brees likely got. Obviously, I would like to see Drew Brees' hair styled like this, and maybe having somebody comb through that hair so we could better assess how many grafts he really got, because you can really tell it by the density, and from footage like that we can really tell the density much better compared to just looking at Drew Brees' hair when it's just styled like this, which doesn't really show us much, and we cannot really get this insight in between his transplanted hairs. That was it really what I wanted to say on this case. For all of you guys who are interested in a hair transplant, you're considering it, not because you are seeing the celebrities getting it done, but because you really want it, because it's something that you really want to do, because maybe you have tried finasteride, you have tried minoxidil, you really want to have hair, right? And minoxidil with finasteride did their work, but also they didn't bring that hair back. In such case, you can also get in touch with me, where we can discuss your situation one-on-one, where I can advise you much better what type of surgery would be suitable for you, what I would do in your situation. Would it be FUE? Would it be FUT? Which doctor would I choose? You can also contact many doctors that I recommend you, and then we can discuss which offer seems to be like the best price quality ratio, which offer seems to be the best for your case, and which one I would go with maybe. So this type of advice, assistance throughout your hair transplant research, that's exactly what I'm doing with guys in your shoes. And you can again check out mattdominance.com/mentoring, where you can check out reviews, testimonials, results of my clients that I have been helping out before their hair transplant decision for the last 2-3 years already. Okay, so make sure you check it out. Check out my website in general. If you want to inform yourself and educate yourself more about hair transplants, check out our free Facebook group, Hair Transplant Experiences, with over 3,500 members. You can also visit us there and ask any questions you may have. And that was pretty much it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna be looking forward to see you again in another video. Take care.